סהלה תוך אמונה העם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה Tola min hamidbar
You shall love Adonai with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your might. Take to heart these commandments I give you this day. Remember and tell all your children to live by my way. Speak of them when you're home, when you're on your way, when you lie down and get up and go about your day, as a sign on your hand and upon your head. On the side of your doorposts, my commandments may always be read. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Vaed. Please remember, observe all these words that I've said, to live and be holy for years straight ahead. For I am your God, out of Egypt I led. Be holy, be righteous, remember the words that I've said. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Vaed. You shall love Adonai with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your might. Take to heart these instructions I give you this day. Remember and tell all your children to live, oh, to live and remember my ways. generations and generations and L'dor Vador, Vador, Vador.
Look around the world, look around your town. Every single age is represented all around. You see them everywhere, every street, avenue or boulevard. Anywhere, any beach, any park or any yard.
L'dor Vador, for generations and generations and L'dor Vador, Vador, Vador.
Ecclesiastes said one generation goes and another generation arrives. He got it wrong. For years we all live side by side.
Can you lean on those who arrived here before? Can you learn from those you remember being born?
Can you see that we are all together evermore?
L'dor Vador, for generations and generations and L'dor Vador, Vador, Vador. L'dor Vador, for generations and generations and L'dor Vador, Vador, Vador. L'dor Vador, for generations and generations and L'dor Vador, Vador, Vador.
And throughout the service, those of us up here, we offer kavanot or iyunim, intentions or iyunim, bits of interest. But kavanot are really beyond intentions. They come from this root word in Hebrew, kivun, which is to orient. And I was thinking about that as I sat down to write some thoughts I wanted to share during this service, because orienting ourselves implies that we're going somewhere together. And if we don't end up, hopefully, at the same place at which we started, I think it's important that we do approach our orienting with a bit of intention. And so I want to ask us all, as we get ready to pray today, where are we going? Where's your destination? What are we orienting ourselves to? It could be a feeling, it could be a frame of mind, it could be the bagels after the service. But I love this note because it acknowledges that a service has the power to move us. It moves us somewhere. And if that's so, I think our very first kavanah, the very first one as we start out, has to be our intention to let ourselves be moved. And so before we begin, I wanted to ask us all, either here or on Zoom, to take 30 seconds, close your eyes, and really set an intention to let yourself be moved today towards whatever destination you may like. But let's have that anchored in ourselves as the lodestone we orient ourselves towards this morning. Okay, and with that fixed in mind, let's begin with some words of song.
Page 10. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. V'ani berov chasdecha avo beitecha eshtachave elecha kodshecha b'yiratecha. Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. V'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chasdecha aneni bemet yishecha. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Continue on in our service. Basher Yitzhar.
Page 12. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhma u'baravo nekavim Chalulim, galui ve'yadua lifnei חיסי כבודך, שאם ייפקח אחד מהם, או יסתם אחד מהם. אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך, ברוך אתה אדוני רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. We move now to 16.
As we read the words of Elohai Neshama, I want us all to think about our prayer for our soul is really also a prayer for breath. The root of soul neshama is linshom, to breathe. Beginning with, in Genesis, God breathing a soul into Adam. And it's perfect, I think, as humanity begins with a breath, as life begins with a breath. And our days also can begin with our breath. I want to ask us as we go, what will you begin with a breath today? And keep that in mind with our words of Elohai Neshama.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Teorai. Elohai Neshama. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi Teorai. Ata berata, ata yitzarta, אתה נפחת בי, ואתה משמרה בקרבי. אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת בי טהוראי.
As we turn the page to Birkot HaShachar, I have to tell you this one is my favorite. It's a prayer of thanks. It's a litany of thanks. And at Temple Emanuel, one of the things I've grown to love is that this is an embodied experience, this prayer. We've combined the gratitude with our physical sensation awareness, so I ask us all to hop up, to join us as we move through, pun intended, our daily morning, I couldn't resist it, our daily morning blessings.
We're on page 18. You can do this in Hebrew, English, Hinglish. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sechvi vina, lehavchin ben yom uvein laila, who has implanted mind and instinct within every living being. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani betzalmo, who made me in your image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chori, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Pokeach Ivrim, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who malbish harumim, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, who frees the captives. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Zokef Kefufim, who strengthens and stretches the back. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Roka haaretz al hamayim, who spreads the earth above the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shasali kol tzorki, who provides me with all my needs. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver, who makes firm each person's steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bigvura, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara, who crowns Israel with glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ya'ef koach, who gives strength to the weary. We continue with Psukei de Zimra on page 26. Baruch shamar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch hu, Baruch oseh v'reshit, Baruch omer ve'oseh, Baruch gozer u'mekayem, Baruch merachem al haaretz, Baruch merachem al habriot, Baruch meshalem sachar tov lireyav, Baruch chai la'ad, v'kayam lanetzach, Baruch podeh u'matzil, Baruch shemo. יחיד חי עולמים מלך משובח ומפואר עדי עד שמו הגדול ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מהולל בתשפחות. You may be seated. We turn now to page 32. We're just going to do this first line a couple of times. I have to choose non-Lizzie here keys.
I have a slightly deeper voice.
Your voice is a little deeper than hers.
Just like a wee bit.
Ashrei Yoshvei Meitecha Od Yehalelucha Od Yehalelucha Ashrei Yoshvei Meitecha Od Yehalelucha Od Yehalelucha. Now you start.
Ashrei
Yoshvei
Veitecha
Nevarech Me'ata ve'ad olam.
When I thought about the kavanah or the kivun for our prayer, hallelujah, Psalm 150 on 36, I thought about the fact that if we began in physical awareness and gratitude, we're now in peak praise and praising God. Someone asked me yesterday, actually, they said, why does God need praise? You get these questions a lot when you're a rabbinical student. And I wanted to share how I relate to it, which actually comes from a quote by Mark Twain. And he says, the best way to cheer yourself up is to try and cheer somebody else up. And so here we are in Psalm 150, cheering on God. And if you do it, you might just find it cheers a bit you as well.
Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bekocho. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Berki auzom. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Gvurotav. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kerov Gulom. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah, hallelujah, beteka shofar. Hallelujah, hallelujah, benevel vechino. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 betovu macho, hallelujah, beminim ve'ugav, hallelujah, betziltzlei shama, hallelujah, betziltzlei tshua, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol hanshamat hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshamat hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Same words we just sang. Kol ha-neshama take a breath. In a moment, we turn to Chatzi Kaddish on page 48.
If we're doing well by now, we're really into it. We're immersed, and as we talked about our kavanot, our kivun, we're oriented. And yet Chatzi Kaddish has this twin function. It's actually a delineator. It marks the page break, if you will, between parts of our service. And yet on the other, it's designed to lull us even deeper into our prayers and our service. It's what my teacher, Dr. Adler, once told me is a big pile of verbs. And its meditative function, the repetitive nature of it, in some ways makes those words become sound, meaningless. But only in that they become meaningless so they can take on the new meaning we give them in our service. So take a second, hopefully capturing some meaning, some orientation you want to take with you. And we'll begin our Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמד יפרח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגאלה בגאלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן מעלמה ואמרו אמן. We're on page 52. ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך המבורך לעולם ועד המבורך המבורך לעולם ועד. You may be seated. La 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 Staying on the same page, next words. We're still on 52. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or borech hoshech oseh shalom
ובורא את הכל. You start it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Baruch
melech
atah Adonai Eloheinu
Yotzer
melech
haolam
Yotzer u'vorei choshech Oseh shalom u'vorei et hakol. Page 60. Adonai Eloheinu Chemla gedola v'tera Chamalta aleinu Avinu Malkeinu Bavor Avotenu V'imotenu Shebatchu V'cha Avinu Malkeinu ותלמדם חוקי חיים כן תכוננו תלמדנו אבינו אב הרחמן המרחם רחם עלינו ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע ללמוד וללמד לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה והערננו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחל לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי ששם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי אל פועל ישועות אתה ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון וקרבתנו לשמך גדול סלע באמת להודות לך ויחדך באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל Page 62. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod, Baruch Oto Le'olam. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Let's continue the Ve'ahavta, same page, 62. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם, בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. 66. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. מי כמוך is on page 68.
So as we begin Michamocha, and we're going to go straight into our Amidah, I wanted to give us a few thoughts, a few more kavanot to orient ourselves. Because this week, in our Parsha, one of the key moments that I found surprising is Abraham reflecting on the good life he's had. Which, if you've read the previous Parsha, is a bit of a surprise. Abraham has left everything he has behind, sits around for a very long time, and then in a very active retirement, goes to war for his nephew, has a son, almost is forced to banish that son, has another son, almost murders that son. I think one of the interesting parts of this week's Parsha is that when Abraham reflects on his life as good, Abraham has to choose to see it as good. And if you read the Amidah, our 18 benedictions, the core of our service, you might see that on Shabbat we omit many of them. And we only have 7. We omit the ones petitioning God to change things. We omit the ones that might imply that there's something bad. On Shabbat, we choose to focus on the good. And so I encourage us, as we enter the core of our service, our Micha Mocha, to our standing prayer, that we choose to focus on, we choose to orient on what are the good times that we've had this week? What are the good times we choose, drawing a lesson from our patriarch Abraham?
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi kamocha bainim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh nora tehilot. Osei fele, shira chadasha shimchu ge'ulim, לשמחה על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, וימלכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד. יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה, יאללה לה 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 לה, יאללה לה לה לה, יאללה לה לה. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובטחינו ממך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות, שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. יאי דה 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 דה, יאי דה דה, יאי דה דה, יאי דה דה, יאי דה דה דה, יאי דה דה. שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. 76. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון הגומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מושיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידה מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. We're now on page 80. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור. לדור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please continue silently with your own Amidah. When you feel like you're done with the prayers in the Siddur or prayers from your heart, you may be seated. 98. יהיו לרצון עם רפי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי צורי וגואלי May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer, my rock and my redeemer. If you look on the screen, you can see when the last time I used this keynote was Parshat Devarim. That was a really long time ago, and I apologize for not going back and making the change. I forgot that we have this slide. That's a little bit embarrassing. But I want you to know, I don't think that today is the Parshat Devarim, okay? So just to be clear on that. As a matter of fact, Michael made these slides, so he probably, no, I'm just kidding. He did not. He did not.
Today's Parsha is Chaye Sarah. And before I'm going to pause, actually.
Go ahead.
Kol Tov. Before we even begin, I want to encourage us all, take a moment, greet your neighbor, say hi, and just take a second and get to know who's around you. I bet you there's someone new here today you do not know.
We'll come back in 5 minutes. Okay, so let's move to our Torah service. And this sheet has been kept by an accounting firm all week, so nobody knows who's doing the Aliyot. Remember how they always say that at the Academy Awards? Wow. No. We have someone who has a nickname on this one, so. Oh, I don't know about that. We'll see how that goes. All right. Okay. I'd like to invite Seppi to come up and open the ark. And you know what? Robert? How about Robert Hotza Hakafa Bird for today? Right? Just a little different nickname. All right, we're on page 104. Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malachutecha malachut kol olamim umemshaltecha bechol dor v'ador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch leolam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yiten Adonai varech et amo v'shalom av harachamim heitiva v'rtzoncha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim tivnei chomot Yerushalayim כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמים. ויהי בנשוא אהרון ויאמר משה, קומה אדוני ויפוצו אויביך, וינוסו משנאיך מפניך, כי מציון תצא תורה. כי מציון תצא תורה ודבר אדוני מירושלים ברוך שנתם תורה תורה ברוך שנתם תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula ve'hagevura ve'atiferet ve'anetzach ve'hahod. ככל בשמיים ובארץ לכל בשמיים ובארץ לך אדוני הממלכה ומתנשא לכל ראש. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו Leharkocho. You may sit down in your chairs. Yes, you may sit down.
We should be right there.
Oh, here's what I had to say. No, she had a rehearsal this week.
We'll do it.
It's easy to find because they're dark. Oops.
I'll get that.
Here we are. No. Oh, that's the muffed here.
Wait.
Yep. I told you that was the muffed here from the one before. All right. If you'd like to follow the reading, I have no idea. No. It's page 156. If you have the Ashkenazi Weiss commentary, it's 113. So the green book is 113, the blue book's 156, and if you're at home, I have no idea what Tanakh you're looking at. So
Genesis 23:1.
it's Genesis 23:1, which is self-explanatory.
So it's interesting about that.
Wait.
What?
I don't think this is on. There you go.
Better?
Yep.
Okay, so what's interesting is, as with every parasha, it gets its name from the first important or unique words. In this case, Chaye Sarah, which means the life of Sarah. But in the second sentence, she dies. So it's framing it about her life and about her. I think it's probably the only parasha named for a woman. But it's about what happens immediately after her death. And I guess it's the first real estate deal that we have mentioned in
That's
Torah.
right. Yeah, I don't think
get there
Mitzvah
in
is a
our Torah
woman's name. That was a joke. You got that? ואזור ויוגן והושיע לחוסים בה ונאמר
Amen.
הכל עבודות אלוהינו תנו כבוד לתורה יעמוד ליב דוד בן יהודה. Oh, I did him in the wrong order, but he's coming up anyway. Come on, I called your name.
Let's make that that's a good intern task.
Update the sheet.
Yes.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayihiu chaye Sarah 100 shana ו20 shana ו7 shanim shnei chaye Sarah ותמד שרה בקריית ארבע היא חברון בארץ כנען ויבוא אברהם לספוד לשרה ולבכתה ויקם אברהם מעל פני ביתו וידבר בני חת לאמור.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'chayei Olam Nata Betochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Hello. Join me.
יעמדו ישראל לשמחה בת ירחמיאל וזהבה וברוך יעקב בן. Is that me? Mendel ושרה לאה.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Gervet hashava nochi imachem. Tenu li achuzat kever imachem. Ve'ekra ameti milfanai. Vayanu v'nechet et Avraham lemorlo. Shma'enu Adoni, Nisi Elohim, Ata b'tochenu, b'mivcha kvarenu, kivor et metecha, ish mimenu, et kivro, lo yichla mimcha, mikvor metecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
All right, how's that? Okay. I believe it's on page 113 in the Siddur. Our Misha Beirach, and the way we'll do this, we don't have the same access online, so please do look at the chats online for those people who are in the hearts and minds of those that are online. And between the first and second verse, my head will kind of cross around. And when it gets to about where you are, or I'll try to make eye contact with you. Please call out the names of the people that you're thinking about today that are in need. And we'll gather these names into our hearts together, and we'll pray on behalf of those that are in need of healing. Beirach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Lizzie. Mishebeach imoten Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirits, and let us say, Wow. Wow. Tamod Shira Devora Bat Avram V'Sara Lori.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMavorach. Baruch Adonai Havarach Le'olam Vayed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayakam Avraham et Vayakam Avraham vayishtachu la'am ha'aretz livnechet vaydaber itam lemor im yesh et nafshechem likbor et metim elfanai shma'uni ufgeuli Ephron ben Sochar vayten li et ma'arat hamachpelah asher lo asher biktzei sadehu bekesef malei yitnena li betochachem la'achuzat kever.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Hey, Amdu Amag Behava Golelet. I would like to invite Rabbi Hagbaha Fox to come up to lift the Torah, and Shari Shapiro, please come up to address the Torah for us. Please rise. עשה משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ויד משה על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד, על שלושה דברים על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. I'd like to invite Roya to come up to open the ark. We're on page 132. כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזובו. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה, ותומכיה מאושר. דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו כקדם. You may be seated.
Round two. Hello. Okay, so we're going to mix it up a bit today, and I'm going to pass out a few of these. Actually, Rabbi Aaron is going to pass out a few of these sheets. But we're talking about, right, this curious phrase Abraham says, ger v'toshav. And what I would like us to do is I would like you to find, watch this, someone you did not come here with, and take a moment to read the front page, the page that has some Hebrew on it. We'll take about 3 minutes, and all I want is your surface pass. Read it together, right? The commentary beneath it, and the original bit from the Torah, and I just want your take. So if you could share it with each other and be prepared, I'm going to ask you what your take on it is. We'll get to the back part in a bit. Yes, don't read that yet. But again, please find someone you did not come here with. I can see in your eyes, some of you really hate when I do this. But someone you didn't come here with, and let's give it a go. Oh, that's handy. I should probably take one for myself. This is a 30-second warning. All right. Hello, everyone. Who knew you'd get so engrossed in this? If I could slowly begin to bring people's attention back to the front, we can all collectively discuss this. So once again, in our Torah portion, we have this strange notion from Abraham, right? He says, "Ger and toshav li anochi." Sorry, I and anochi, and then actually it's imachem. I am a ger, which some people would say the stranger, right? And I am a toshav, right? A dweller or a citizen or resident. And I'm a ger and a toshav among you all. So that's what we're trying to sort of make sense here. This is the part I'm sort of zooming us in on. And that's what Rashi here on the bottom is trying to figure out. He's like, why would Abraham claim to be like someone who's a settler and a stranger? And by the way, I mean, we're not talking about, you could be like a citizen of, I don't know, LA and a stranger to someone. But we're not talking about LA. We're talking about this small area of Hebron that the Hittites own. So what did y'all make of this? Does anyone have any insight that they wanted to share? Yes, and you next. Go for it.
So yes, he's there among the Hittites.
Yes.
He's not a Hittite. I got it here.
Is it on? Is it on?
And Abraham, as we know, is different because he believes in one God, and so he cannot bury his wife as a Hittite. He has to bury her as what later becomes a Jew. And so by purchasing the land from the Hittites,
Okay.
it becomes his part of his kavanah, if you would.
His intention.
He's making the distinction between the Hittites and
himself.
and in essence the Jews.
Right, but why would he say a toshav, a dweller? I'm a dweller among you.
Because he is a dweller.
But he's
living
also
there.
a stranger.
But you can be a dweller and a stranger. And we're in current life in Los Angeles and the United States and the world, there's a lot of dwellers who are strangers.
Yes. Wow.
Because by the same token, we as Jews have maintained our Jewish identity by clinging to Torah.
Oh, you're jumping ahead. Okay, yeah. Yes, exactly. We have maintained both statuses. No, we're going here. Hit me with it.
So even though we weren't resident aliens when we spent our year in the UK, this is a nice concept to me, at least the way I'm reading it, which is you're a resident, you're really there, but you don't know all the customs. And so we really were treated enormously well because, like at our granddaughter's school, they explained how things work, and they said, you're welcome to come in, you're welcome to come to the teachers' meetings and this and that. And so that notion of you give people that extra level of support is really good. Now, did they mean that here, and do we mean it in our country? Maybe not, but I'll go with that interpretation.
So on the bottom of the page, Rashi gives two explanations. The second one we'll get to in a moment. But the first one is, that's exactly what Rashi said. He says, a stranger having come from another land, but I settled down amongst you. Okay. Well, any other thoughts as we move on? Judy. Was that your hand? Did I see your hand?
Hi, so this is my grandson whose mother was an Israeli citizen who became an American citizen this week.
Oh, Mazal.
And so to some extent she was a stranger and a dweller until she took this oath to the United States. And now she really is part of this country.
There we go. Anyone else? Rabbi Aaron. All right, here we go, folks.
And just on that, I find that really interesting that a person can become an American citizen, but then I would ask the question, do they feel like they're still a ger, or do they feel like they're a toshav? You know, like how long do you move somewhere? How long does it take you to move from being a stranger, doesn't know the customs, doesn't know anything, you know, driving on the right side of the road in England, you know, until it's just kind of natural for you to do what is done in this new place. And it's just a question, I don't know the answer, right? But sometimes it takes a while to feel like you're a toshav.
So, I want to add a wrinkle to this. I don't want to add a wrinkle. I want to give you the microphone. Here we go. And then I'll add my wrinkle later.
I think Abraham was some important person in that community. How can that was going asked from the other people? Is he a stranger or is he between us? He should know, I think, that who is this guy?
Okay. Now for a wrinkle. A ger, so Hebrew, especially biblical Hebrew, has this weird phenomenon that I've been running up against, in that it's word poor, but context rich. Which means a ger in this case, the stranger, which we translated as, is actually, sometimes it can mean the stranger, but sometimes it means the immigrant, the refugee, the other, the alien, the foreigner. So there's a bunch more. You get the gist. And it's context dependent on what we're really looking at in each case. And Abraham is saying this term, I'm a stranger, but he could be saying, I'm an immigrant. How is Abraham approaching these people? And that's what I wanted to look at today. And I think Rashi's second part is actually ascribing a great deal of power. I want to go back to your comment about Abraham being an important person. Rashi's comment is, he takes the midrash, and Abraham essentially, he says, what is Abraham doing here? Abraham has shown up and said, look, I'm gonna pay for this like I'm a foreigner, right? I'm gonna be, you know, you can treat me like a stranger and I'll pay for it. But if you don't let me do that, Abraham is saying, I'm gonna claim it like I'm a resident. I'm gonna, you know, go through my legal rights, which it's not actually here, but his legal rights involve a bunch of swords. And he's going to claim it by force, because he says, I'm a resident here. So one explanation of this is Abraham is approaching as both, in power, able to claim both statuses to his advantage. I struggle with that, so we're going to flip to the other side of the page with some words from student Rabbi Chava Lerman. Would someone like to read out loud this text? Bueller? Yes, go for it.
In Chayei Sarah, Abraham experiences this tension between belonging and boundaries. He stumbles out of his grief, still unresolved, because he hasn't been able to bury Sarah. In his journey to follow God and God's instructions, he has become permanently transient. God promised Abraham a land, but it is upon him now to acquire it from the people who own it. In approaching the Hittites of Hebron to purchase a burial plot, he says, I am a ger v'toshav among you. Give me a burial plot among you, and I will bury my dead from before me. Abraham's self-description, ger v'toshav, depicts a very specific status. The term is and I should remember this, hendiadys?
Hendiadys.
Yeah, where two nouns are joined to articulate a meaning instead of using an adjective. Think of the phrase, the room is nice and warm. We don't take this to mean the room is a nice room and it is a warm room. Its niceness is determined and reinforced by its warmth. In Abraham's case, he uses the term ger, stranger, and toshav, resident. In a small town like Hebron, everyone would know all the residents. No resident would be a stranger. Resident stranger, therefore, is less a descriptor of being both local and foreign than a legal status in which Abraham has a right to reside in the land, but no natural rights to own property.
All right, another wrinkle. We got a lot of ironing to do. So in this case, we've been talking about these two different things. Is it this or is it that? And then here we have a new idea, right? It's actually a distinct status that we would call sort of liminal, right? Sort of in between two spaces. It is one thing. It's not. He's not sort of Schrodinger's biblical patriarch, but in fact he's one thing. But that thing he is, that status he has, exists between two places. And before I actually go further, I want to give you a chance to make the comment before you go too far.
A thought I had is his political astuteness, that he's being smart to pay for this, just in case other people will not like the fact that the stranger is a resident and therefore has right to the land. And I think of times when people are of different descent, here or anywhere, there is still the sense of, do you carry the culture and the political viewpoints of the place from which you came, and how does that affect your power here? And we're forgetting that Abraham is really a rich guy, so he's coming into a place and he's coming with wealth. And what would people think of that as he is taking their land if he wouldn't pay for it?
I like it.
Don't you think people are going to be worried that he's going to come take over? I think that's amazing what you just said. I love what you said. But doesn't it feel like any way he goes about this is going to be rough on him, right? Because if he just takes the land, they're going to be like, hey, this guy's just taking. If he buys it, they're going to be like, wait a minute. Is he going to buy everything and take over? Yeah.
1 second.
Cheva just connected something for me that I mentioned to you when I was up on the Bima, that, you know, after this little dance with the Hittites about, oh no, we'll give you a plot, you don't have to buy it. And he's like, no, I want to buy it. Introduce me to so-and-so who owns this cave that I want. And like, where's this name come from? How does he know this one Hittite? Well, Cheva tells us why. It's because it's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Just because we hadn't been introduced to that name before. So that connected that dot for me. But what I think is that by his buying it, it also gives him a land that he can then hand down as his family burial plot, as opposed to if it had been given to him, hey, somebody could take eminent domain in a few generations and he loses access, or his family loses access to that cave.
Right.
So this sort of perpetuates that it's his.
Yeah. I bring this today, because we're going to try and link it a little bit. I bring this today, 3 more minutes, because there was a very astute comment, right, that Abraham has both a liminal status and he's not powerless at all. I mean, Rashi, in the Midrash that he cites, thinks he's very powerful. Abraham essentially says, you have a choice. It's gold or fire and blood. But in Abraham, even ignoring sort of the Midrashic heights or powers they give to Abraham, Abraham is quite wealthy. He does have the ability to fight a war, as he's done for his nephew. And so I was thinking about this in today's world, right? Abraham has a liminal status, right? He's a toshav. He is settled, right, from the same root, to be settled. And yet, he can be seen sometimes as stranger or other. And I thought about that today in sort of the current rise in discourse around Jews in America, whether you see SNL or you see signs on the highway. And I think liminal status for Jews is not a new phenomenon, is guess what I want to put out. And it really depends on both how we see ourselves and how others see us. So I just wanted to sort of introduce the idea in this case, right, that it is it's not one or the other. I disagree with Rashi, and I'm on Sheva's side, that it's actually a single status in between. Any final thoughts, though, before we? Yes.
Well, we see the same type of thing in Israel, where Jews have bought the land from Arabs, and yet the Arabs sometimes do not feel that they were entitled to do that, even though they were strangers there and they have purchased the land.
We're getting close to dangerous ground for a Saturday morning Torah study,
But
and I use that in several meanings.
It's the same thing. We're purchasing the land, and when you purchase the land, you are first you're saying that this is your land and I'm going to buy it from you,
Right.
as opposed to I'm entitled to your land. So
Right.
there's a difference.
There is a difference, and Abraham in this case clearly believes that the Hittites are entitled to their land, not
he
he
shows them
himself.
respect that way.
And it's right, as opposed to the Midrashic understanding where he believes I'm entitled to it, and no matter what, I will have it. But I'll offer to pay for it if it's nice. You have a nice bow you can wrap us up with, Judy?
It just occurred to me that it's one thing about how Abraham views itself, but it's also one thing about how the Hittites really view him.
Right.
And I think in this country, when we're dealing with all this anti-Semitism that's been occurring recently, that's not how we view ourselves, but all of a sudden we have to look at and deal with how the others view us. And I think maybe Abraham is sort of saying, okay, there's a deal here. I'm not telling you this is mine and I belong here. I'm sort of letting you, make some decision in this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to create waves.
I don't think we're going to solve the issue of Jews and liminal status today, but I think all of what we've said is right, and these are things we've been wrestling with for, well, at least several thousand years. So with that, thank you, and I think we can get back to our service. Toda rabba.
Koach. Let's go to, we're on page 134, is Aleinu. Please rise. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. And I would like to not forget that Ruth is going to come forward for a reading before our Kaddish.
Hope by Liesl Mueller. It hovers in dark corners before the lights are turned on. It shakes sleep from its eyes and drops from mushroom gills. It explodes in the starry heads of dandelions turned sages. It sticks to the wings of green angels that sail from the tops of maples. It is the singular gift we cannot destroy in ourselves, the argument that refutes death, the genius that invents the future, all we know of God. It is the serum which makes us swear not to betray one another. It is in this poem trying to speak.
I'd like to ask if there's anyone here observing Shloshim, or it is the yahrzeit of a loved one, or if you're in the first year after the passing of loved ones. If you please rise, and when I acknowledge you, tell us who you're here to say Kaddish for. So in a moment we'll rise together. We say Kaddish Yatom for those that have no one to say it for them, and for those lost in the Holocaust, those that have died from COVID. And also I want to mention those that died this past week in Virginia. Every week there's just another moment to say, we need to say Kaddish for them. So let's rise together. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה ברכו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace among us, all of Israel, the whole world. And we say,
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Just a couple announcements. First of all, Sarah, thank you very much for our audio visual. And thank you, Michael, for that wonderful teaching and for sitting up here. It's not so bad, right? Well. It's not so bad. Come on. A couple of announcements. Really happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you all are going to be with family as much as you can. And, I was reading something yesterday. Let's be really careful in the next month and a half, because the COVID numbers are not staying down, and we're all going to gather together, and we don't know where other people have been. So please be careful as you go through your lives. One other announcement I'd make now. First of all, there's a class I'm going to start after we get back from Thanksgiving on Tuesday evenings. It's a theme class for generations and generations, and we're going to be looking at ethical wills and thinking about what kinds of values we want to pass on to the next generation. So that should be very nice. It'll be 3 weeks in a row we'll do that. And hopefully at the end you can start to write something that you can pass down to your families. December 24th, Saturday evening, 5 o'clock, right here, we're going to do our annual Latkes and Lo Mein concert. What do Jews do? They go to the movies, they eat Chinese food. So instead we're doing a little concert with Chinese food. And we're going to have, this year it's going to be there it is right there. We're having some comedians also. So come and laugh. We're going to bring our band in. We're going to be singing a lot of kind of our original music, our theme songs and things like that. But it should be really a fun time. If you have nothing to do, 24th, and it's at 5 o'clock, so it'll be a couple hours, and then if you wanted to, go somewhere else, you could do that. But that's usually a nice evening when we come together. December 3rd,
I believe is a Saturday morning. On that December 3rd, at lunch, towards the end of lunch, we're going to have a little Shabbat Morning Emanuel meeting that Michael will be heading up. And it's really to look at some of the changes that we're gonna bring to this service, ask questions, get feedback from you, talk about what we'd like to do as we move forward. But if you're interested in having some input, please be at that meeting. I think it's the 3rd. I think the 3rd is that Saturday. I think the 2nd is a Friday night. It is. So please join us on December 3rd so that you can hear what we're planning on doing. Nothing, they're not major changes, but some minor tweaks and some things we'd like to try, and we want to throw them by you and get your feedback on them. Yes, Elise Newman-White is celebrating her birthday, so we'll have a nice meal. And Jerry has a birthday like all the time. He does? Oh. We send a Misha Berach out to Jerry. And, but seriously, it does seem like almost every year we celebrate his birthday. So that's a night. December 3rd is a nice time to come together. We've all, been with our families for Thanksgiving and probably have to recover from that. So let's come together and have a beautiful Saturday morning service.
I was just singing "Come Together."
Oh. Okay. Let us end with Vishamru, then we've got some wine and challah back there, and we can enjoy lunch together.
I'm going to head right back there. That's ready.
Can you hear me on that? You know what? I hate to do it. I'm sorry. Technical issues today, huh? It's Cantor Weiss's fault. Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'atzot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Let's see good dance. Here we go. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל. Let's see some twirls. בני אותי לעולם. Let's see a twirl. Let's see a twirl. אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. May you feel blessed and safe, and may you feel luminous and loved, and may you feel joy, and may you feel whole. Shabbat Shalom.
Can I invite everyone to join in the back as we do Kiddush and Motzi together as a Kahila?